How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to episode 40 of Taking Control. This is our weekly web series here at One SEO, where we talk about all things IT and digital marketing. I'm Anthony Kane, an SEO strategist here at One SEO, and I'm joined, as always, with my co-host Lance Bachman, CEO of One SEO.
All right, well, before we jump into this week's news, let's get some good local news here going for the people in the Philadelphia, New Jersey, Bucks County area. I'm sure you saw our billboards up saying we're growing, we're hiring. We're still looking for kick-ass people to do kick-ass things. So if you want to kick a little ass, apply online, and we'd love to have you here. We're growing quite fast, and we need great people. So whether you're a developer, pay-per-click person, social media, email marketer, IT person, text, managed services, we're looking for almost every single person inside our organization position to grow.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a ton of open positions, like Lance mentioned. You can apply online, so feel free, oneseo.com/careers to view all of our open positions, and we look forward to seeing some applications come in. Absolutely. So this week, last week actually, we got to hear from CJ Bachman on our In It to Win It segment, which was great. Always some good insight from her, talking about the Facebook sales funnel a little bit. This week, we're actually going to be passing it off to Bernard, who is our head of content and social media marketing here, and we will send it off to Bernie right now.
Go get him, Bernard.
Hi, my name is Bernie Olilla, and I'm the Director of Content and Social Media Marketing here at One SEO, IT and Digital Agency. Today I'm going to talk to you about the effects of content marketing. So content marketing is going to be different for a small business than it is going to be for a big business who has a lot of resources and time to really invest into the most effective content marketing campaign, because those kinds of things take a lot of time and they take a lot of money. So for small businesses, what you have to do is think about content marketing and every piece of content that you create as fuel for the rest of your digital marketing campaign. So for example, instead of launching a whole campaign based around one product that you're trying to sell, take the piece of content and use it as fuel for social media. So if you're a small business, or if you're running the digital marketing campaign for a small business, you're gonna have to get a little bit creative. So what you're gonna wanna do, for example, is take an infographic that you created and put it on social media, boost it, use it as a way to generate brand awareness for you and the company that you're working for. Another piece of content that you can use in a small business digital marketing campaign is a video. So let's say you create a video, you put it on YouTube, and you optimize it. That's not the end of it. You can take it and then also put it in a piece of email marketing. So that way when you send out your emails to your audience, they can see the video, and that's just another way to give them value where they are and where they need it. And of course, there's always blogs. Everybody has a blog, but nobody really reads blogs. But blogs that do get read all have one thing in common, and that is that they create and structure their content on the blog page in a way that's easy for people who are scrolling to keep going. So let's say if I have a blog and I make a big title in bold and I have a lot of pictures and short blocks of text that are maybe 1 or 2 sentences, people will scroll down and keep reading that, and before they know it, they've read 4,000 words and they've been on the blog page for 2 or 3 minutes. But if I just take a wall of text and I just throw it on my blog page and someone sees it, it's going to intimidate them, or they're going to be like, no way, I'm out of here, and they're going to bounce right off the page. And finally, there's always optimized website content, PPC ad copy, and really anywhere else online where there's words that are associated to your brand. That's where you should really be focusing your content creation efforts if, like I said, you're running the campaign for a small to medium-sized business. The goal with this approach to using content in your digital marketing campaign is to have an impact on your immediate ROI. And the way you do that, like BJ talked about last week, is having solid measurable KPIs going into it. So if you're trying to generate brand awareness, you're going to want to focus on, clicks and impressions and reach on Facebook. If you're trying to generate sales, you're obviously going to want to focus your content efforts on the copy in your PPC campaign, or generating leads. You're going to want to obviously do your email marketing. But there's a lot of different ways you can approach it, but you want to keep your goals in perspective and use your content to feed those goals. To summarize, use your content to feed the other parts of your digital marketing campaign if you're a small and medium-sized business and you don't have all the time in the world and all the resources to pump into traditional content marketing tactics. All right, that's it for me. Back to you, Lance.
Thanks, Bernie. Always good stuff to hear from you on the content marketing side. So this week, we're actually going to be opening up a new segment here at Taking Control to hear from the creative side of our company. Obviously, we do a lot of design work here. We do a lot of creative thinking here at One SEO. So we're going to get to hear from one of our lead designers, Sarah Day, on our new segment, Creative Juices. So Sarah, take it away.
Thanks, guys. And everyone, welcome to the first segment of Creative Juices. I'm Sarah Day, the lead designer here at One SEO, IT and Digital Marketing. So today we're going to talk about design trends and why they're really not that great. Design trends come around every year, the same way fashion trends do. But like those blue jeans you made your boyfriend buy you at Christmas this year, they're really only going to be cute for a year, maybe 2. When you're designing brand identities and websites and collateral, you really want to make sure that it's stuff that's going to be good for you in the long haul. Even major brands only redo their branding every 8 to 10 years. So if you're a landscaper and you're making a new logo this year, the color of the year may be ultraviolet this year, but don't put that in your logo. Use greens and browns, and if you really want to try to set yourself apart from your competitors, maybe some orange and yellows. You really want colors that speak to what you do, because that's how people are going to recognize you. Some other design trends this year are duotone images and glitch style images. And while those may be good for something like billboards that only stay up for about 6 months, for your PPC campaigns, you really want something that you don't have to change out every time, because you want to make sure people are recognizing your brand. And there are also some ridiculous web design trends out there, like when you go to an agency's page and instead of when you click on a link, it just scrolls you down the page instead of taking you to a new one. That's absolutely not going to help you with your SEO campaigns, your PPC campaigns, or even your content marketing. Those are all just trends, and while they may look aesthetically pleasing, they're not helpful in the long run. So basically what I'm trying to say is, next time you ask your boyfriend for a present, make sure he gets you a diamond instead of those high-waisted jeans, because you want something that's going to last forever. So coming up next is Christian. I hope you guys stay tuned and listen to all the really cool things he has to tell you about IT support.
Hey everybody, this is Christian Hernandez over here at One SEO IT and Digital Agency. Today, I'd love to talk to you guys about something I'm running into clients a lot. One of the biggest things that I've come across our clients as we're doing our annual reviews to start off 2018 has been looking and ensuring that they're compliant to all the regulations they have to follow. One of the biggest things that we're coming up against is the need to work with clients who are holding personal medical information. Anybody who processes it, stores it, or transmits that information has to follow HIPAA security rule. Now, what is HIPAA security rule? It's very simple. It's these 6 guidelines that were meant to be a basic information level of what you need to do to ensure that this information is being protected. It doesn't apply just to doctors' offices or dentist offices. Really, anybody who has this electronic protected health records information out there. So one of the first things that we look at is making sure that they're compliant with one of the biggest rules out there, and that's from an antivirus protection segment. Ensuring that anything that people are trying to access and click on and has a vulnerable operating system, which is everything out there, has to have antivirus on it. One of the biggest mistakes though that these companies do is that they put it on all their computers, but fail to put it on their server. And their server has a vulnerable operating system. So that's one of the first things that we go out to check. The second component really comes up to how their information is stored and backed up. The reason behind it is because not only when you're transmitting this information, but when you're storing it, it has to be up to date. It has to be readily accessible. More importantly, it has to be accessible in case there's a dramatic and catastrophic event that happens at the location. It can't just be a backup storage device that's on location. There has to be one that's off-site or cloud-based. Second, it has to be able to be backed up frequently, because you need to make sure these records are up to date. So most companies are doing 1 or 2 hour backups. Third, it has to be full restoration capabilities. That means it can't just log parts and pieces of it. It has to be able to completely rebuild itself from that last moment that backup was taken. The third and last segment that I want to mention is the firewall segment. The reason behind it is because that truly is your first line of defense. When something comes into your environment, it is typically coming through the online from outside in. And the firewall protects you from phishing and scamming and things like that. So in order to be able to be protected and have your client's information truly protected, you want to make sure you have a good firewall that's up-to-date licenses so that you're really being protected of the most important things out there. I'm going to kick it right back to Anthony and Lance. Thank you so much, guys.
Awesome stuff, Christian. And now we're back here at the desk for the Digital Buzz, which is, of course, our weekly roundup here with all the newsworthy stories from this week. We have a couple ones that we wanted to touch on really quick, as we always do. But this week, Facebook was actually in the news a lot. Now, there's the whole Cambridge Analytica thing, but this was a little different. There's actually news that Facebook has been pulling sort of your call history, your SMS history, for Android devices. iOS has its own privacy policy that won't allow it. But if you've been opted into this on the Messenger app on Facebook, on Android devices, they've actually had this kind of access to this data. which has shocked a lot of people. To me, at this point, I think it goes to show like how many other apps could be doing this as well.
Well, that's a fact. I thought it was kind of funny because people opt in, and you should or you shouldn't opt in depending on what data you're going to
Right.
get. But most people feel you have to opt in. But somebody asked me last week, as soon as that whole analytics and their stock started dropping,
Yeah.
first thing I did was I bought Facebook stock because it is going to come back. Not to tell you what to do with your money, but a 15% dip in a stock like Facebook, which is a strong company to grow. I think this is more of a PR ploy, listen, if you sign up and you opt in, and if you don't read the terms and conditions, what can be done with your data, it's really on you. I just think people expect to opt in, Anthony, now. Hey, opt in. If I don't opt in, I'm not going to get the best end user experience.
Yeah.
They might not let me in. It might not work. And I don't think people expect any harm to be done with this data. I think people of my generation, maybe a little older, a little leery, but I don't think this is as big as you think. I think it's amazing. I think BJ downloaded his data here, who has a Droid, and it was interesting. You could tell the time call and some other things you were telling me about, but doesn't shock me. Does it really shock you?
No, it doesn't. And there were some other studies that came out this week that were showing that, like, in general, Americans are losing sort of their trust in Facebook. But the reality is, like, I just don't see people deleting. There's also that whole hashtag delete Facebook thing going around. But I just don't see, if people were so upset, they would actually delete their Facebook. But instead, they make posts about it on Facebook and things like that. Like, nobody's actually really taking any action to kind of get away from it.
But how many times has this happened to Google prior?
Right.
Tons, time after time after time, and Google gets past it. People have a short memory. When Facebook comes out with their next cool thing, or Instagram, this goes to the wayside. And I saw Google with so much data and selling our data and using our data, and people just got used to it. And I don't think this is that big of a deal.
Absolutely. So continuing right along here, so we've all known about the Mobile First Index. We know that Google's already kind of rolling this out on their own time. But what they've actually done is made an official announcement about it to everybody so that you can kind of get an idea of what to expect in the next couple of weeks and next couple of months. So some important just little things to hit on really quick with the Google Mobile First Index. What actually is the Mobile First Index? So to take a quick step back and explain what indexing is. So Google actually has one main index where they keep all of the websites out there, all of the different web pages that they can pull from to show when someone searches something on Google. So if your website's not in Google's index, well, then they can't show you when someone goes to type in a query about your website because they just don't have it. So in order to get included within Google's index, you get crawled by Google's bots and things like that, and then they'll index you. Now, historically, Google looked at the desktop version of your website to include you within the index. However, with all the data out there, and they just know that more people are searching on their phone, they're going to start to pull from the mobile version of your webpage. So it's important for a couple of reasons. One, if you're not mobile friendly at this point, you don't have a responsive website, or if you have a separate mobile version, keep that in mind because that's what they're going to be looking for as they go to index sites in the future. Another key thing to mention here is that it's not a separate index. It's not like they're going to have another index for mobile first. It's still that one main index. They're just going to be shifting to looking at the desktop version, looking at the mobile version rather over the desktop version.
Yeah, I think 50% of the people out there get this. I think the other 50% don't get it. I think that you're going to have to take a look at this and say, if you don't have a mobile site and it's not fast and it's not quick and it's not giving the end user what they expect, then you're not going to show up on Google's index. You're not going to have relevancy. You're not going to get a lot of organic traffic. You're not going to get more inquiries, more leads, more people buying your product. We live in a mobile-first world. My mobile phone's right here. Your mobile phone's right there. Yep. So just know that. And from a client base or a business owner's base or a marketer's, go take a look at your mobile site and see how it's loading, what it's doing, is it giving the right information, and see how many pages are indexed on Google on your mobile device.
Yeah, absolutely. And the big thing with this in the past was, a lot of marketers and business owners were curious about when they're going to know that they got switched over to the mobile first. Like, will Google let me know? Will they not? So in this official announcement, they did let everybody know that they're going to be sending out a Search Console message. So just be on the lookout because that will be coming as you get switched over to that mobile first index. So it's
Absolutely.
just something to keep in mind as those messages start to come through. So another really cool article that we saw this week was how marketers and brands are starting to use sort of GIFs to incorporate them into their marketing strategy. So we all know like the bumper ads on YouTube are really popular right now, the 6-second ads.
Yep.
They run really quick, you can't skip them. Now a free version of that would be, you know, every day people are sending mindless memes and GIFs to each other. It's just what, you know, naturally what we do. There's all these search engines for GIFs and things like that now. So, you know, what brands like Pepsi and Converse and some of these bigger guys are starting to think about is like, well, maybe we can incorporate our brand into some of these GIFs in quirky ways and get them really popular, get them viral. So how do they do that? They hire Neil Patrick Harris or the actors from Stranger Things to create hundreds of GIFs in the hopes that people start to share them. And it's not like the brand is there in a filter or something like that. It's more like, you know, the brand is just there subtly. It's in the corner. It's something like that, which is, you know, I think it pertains to bigger brands. It's not something like a small business is going to take advantage of. But if you're a brand that's putting out commercials all year round, well,
It's no different. When this came out, I said it's no different than big companies paying for movie space or television space to have their brand subtly
Right.
put there. A Red Bull can right here,
Yeah.
a Coke can right there, and you get an influencer to do the meme where people think are cool and funny or a gift and say, okay, well, now you got Apple in the background. They see that. So I think it's a great idea. I think it's a smart reason. Do I think it's going to lead to a lot of conversions for someone right away? No, but with Google Images, with someone to buy something right there and then, if they can identify that product inside the image,
Right.
then maybe that helps.
yeah, absolutely. And it's actually funny you mentioned that. So like we are seeing that with a lot of shows. Like, are they going to start to take a little money from some of the bigger brands to include like Coca-Cola products in
Absolutely.
the background? And you know, you see that with some of the Netflix shows. So we just thought it was a really interesting article, and it was actually the headline that caught me, and it was something along the lines of like that GIF you just shared is probably a piece of some marketing advertisement. You know,
Absolutely.
or we've all shared a marketing GIF in the past, but. Some of the core topics from this week's episode for Digital Buzz. So I'm Anthony Kane, joined as always by Lance Bachman. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode of Taking Control, and we will of course be back next Thursday. See you guys later.
Thank you.